Enola Holmes had a fantastic run with its audience back in 2020. The movie showed a much quirkier and equally ecstatic Holmes. For those who may be wondering, she also happened to be the little sister of the elder original Holmes. Just as the first was peppered with references to Sherlock Holmes, so was the second. If you missed out some Easter eggs and references, then fret not, we're here to quell your appetite. Starting, the Holmes family has more than one detective. We've all come to like Sherlock Holmes over the years. He is a well-known detective. After Enola Holmes was released in 2020, the character of Enola quickly gained popularity. As her last name implies, this female figure is undoubtedly linked to the well-known Sherlock Holmes. Of course, Enola is Holmes' well-hid sister. The sequel, which debuted in 2022 after its release in 2020, has received several accolades. In the sequel to Enola Holmes, the young detective investigates the mysterious death of a young woman who works in a match factory.
Green eyes, red hair.
Next, the sequel was filled with Easter eggs. The sequel attracted multiple reviews, but the audience has been much more interested in the Easter eggs that the film has offered to the fans of Sherlock Holmes. The series is an adaptation of the spin-off book series of the same name, but fans have found a way to find familiar features of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's original books. Sherlock is a supporting character in the Enola Holmes series, but by referencing particular details from Doyle's original writings and connecting Enola Holmes' incredible experiences to real-life Victorian England, Sherlock's audience-known history contributes to the world-building of the film. Without further delay, let us indulge the sneaky details that the audience sees as Easter eggs in the Enola series. We all know that Sherlock Holmes is an all-time favorite mystery character that people have loved globally. Though his sister series offers an inside and his life, fans are thrilled to pick out the Easter eggs that have made everything much more thrilling than before. Let us look at what Easter eggs can be spotted throughout the show. Coming up, Sherlock, a drunkard. Not just on a social level, Sherlock's character has given us quite an insight into his personal life in Enola Holmes. The audience saw Sherlock Holmes as the man they had all grown to love and adore for so long. Though his character is quite all over the place, even in his original series, was he a drunkard? Sherlock's drunkard nature is unknown to his original audience. There is an instance in the show where Enola bumps into a drunken Sherlock Holmes on a street corner after he has been thrown out of a bar for indulging in too much wine.
Be away with you, boy!
Sherlock?
Enola.
Though he is not known to drink in the original series or the original Doyle books, his excess indulgence is not that far from reality. According to canon, Sherlock smokes and occasionally drinks, though not excessively. Despite the drug's detrimental consequences on his body and Watson's warnings, Sherlock, well known in the novels for being a cocaine addict, intentionally abused the intravenous stimulant to boost his ideas. Pretty neat. The detective's drug use and how it impacts his health, profession, and personal relationships are shown more darkly and explicitly in the BBC series Sherlock, performed by Benedict Cumberbatch. Moving on, 221 Baker Street. Is it a real place? Sherlock Holmes' character is quite legendary, however the address 221 Baker Street is more iconic than his character. Although the address is not real, there is an exciting fact. In homage to the fictitious detective's mansion, a museum has been established near its real-life location. Over the years, the audience has had a massive fandom centered around the fictional address. Additionally, the fans' favorite address. It's been more than an address for the fans, and the discovery of the Baker Street apartment, one of the most important Easter eggs missing from the original Enola Holmes movie, strengthens the connection between the movie and the canon of Sherlock Holmes. The door to apartment 221A is briefly seen on the screen as the sister detective passes by. Sherlock informs an irate Enola that he lives one story above the apartment, hinting that she will have to help him stumble up the stairs.
You should write that down.
Here we go.
Ha! Home. Well done, Sherlock.
The residents of Unit 221A were never made clear in the literature, although the movie could hint at Mrs. Hudson, Sherlock and Watson's landlady, showing up as the building's occupant in the likely sequel movie Enola Holmes 3. Next up, Holmes the Lone Wolf. Don't become me, Sherlock tells his younger sister at one point in the movie. This is what Sherlock says regarding his propensity to remain alone at work and in his personal life. As viewers may recall, Enola reveals in the first movie that her name spelled backward means alone, a sad foreboding of how her life may develop if she isn't cautious about acting differently. Further, in comparison to the original series, in Doyle's The Adventure of the Gloria Scott, Sherlock tells Watson that he is never a very gregarious gentleman, which is supported by his history of working alone and his lack of significant love relationships. Dr. John Watson is arguably his only friend in the books. Even though Watson travels with Sherlock on his cases, Sherlock is never truly and completely honest with Watson, frequently withholding important particulars about his personal and professional lives from his friend, colleague, and roommate. The fact that that Sherlock is conscious of his dysfunctional loneliness and his craving for companionship in both the novels and Enola Holmes 2 is excellent news for the spin-off film series. This makes the way for the third installment of the series, Enola Holmes 3, which may feature Dr. John Watson as Sherlock's eventual companion. Now for the nemesis, Moriarty. In Enola Holmes 2, James Moriarty, the adversary, is a black woman of low status who is ignored and devalued by her dishonest and haughty boss. She escapes captivity at the end of the film after assuming the fictional alias Mira Troy, which is an anagram of Moriarty, indicating a potential reappearance in sequels where viewers may witness more of her continuous conflict with Sherlock Holmes. When she revealed her name to Enola at the ball, there were multiple fans who could spot who she was.
I feel I recognize you from somewhere.
I simply have one of those faces.
Mira Troy.
Multiple fans exploded over the fact that they were able to recognize such an important Sherlock Holmes character. Next, we have Dr. John Watson. The beginning of Sherlock and Dr. John Watson's collaborative experiences in the Enola Holmes universe is established in the end credits scene of Enola Holmes 2, and thus opens the door for Enola Holmes 3 to include further original material from the Sherlock Holmes canon. When Sherlock opens the door to flat 221 Baker Street,
Yes. Please, do come in, Mr.
Doctor Watson. John Watson.
he discovers Dr. John Watson waiting inside after previously declining Enola's invitation to share his space. Also seeking a roommate is Watson. Watson is an important character in Sherlock's adventures since all of his stories in the original Doyle books are given from his perspective. Future Enola Holmes films will be able to draw on a wide range of material, including historical events, Nancy Springer's Enola Holmes books, and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's original Sherlock Holmes books, as the timeline of Enola Holmes 2 now corresponds with the start of Doyle's first Sherlock story, A Study in Scarlet. Finally, the end credit scene. This and the end credit scene is crucial, as fans were exploding over the introduction of such an important character at the very end of the season. This reviews the brother-sister relationship and how Enola herself decided to work independently to free herself from the influence of her brother. Dr. Watson was introduced by Enola herself to be considered as a flatmate for Sherlock Holmes. It was Enola who advised Sherlock that he was not spending too much time alone with himself. Fans are excited to know that the character of Dr. Watson was introduced in the first place. We might be reading too much into it, however, her things unfolding throughout the season. A lot of force shading was likely being done on Sherlock Holmes' personal life and what made Sherlock Holmes the Sherlock Holmes. We hope that you were able to spot and make sense of all the Easter eggs that we could spot for you in the series. This will help you make the best of your Sherlock Holmes and Enola Holmes experience. We hope you enjoyed taking a look at all these interesting Easter eggs. This will surely change how you looked at the series since you first saw it. That's a wrap for this video. What did you think of the latest installment of the series? Did we forget to include any Easter eggs? Let us know in the comments below. It'd be awesome if you gave this video a thumbs up, and please don't forget to subscribe for more delicious videos like this. See you at the next one.